What's up, all you beautiful, gorgeous, sexy beast? Um, I decided to make a video talking about my coming out. So this is my coming out story. Um, I was 15 when I started coming out to my friend. Like, I knew I was gay my whole life, pretty much. Like, I didn't know what gay was, but I knew that I was different from everybody else. Like, I don't know, I was different, and I remember being like 8 or 9 years old, sitting in my room by myself, looking at the wall. I was sitting on my bed, looking at the wall, and I thought, I was just like, I think guys are cute. Like, I just thought it out loud, like I just thought it in my head, and I wanted to say it out loud, but I knew that it was wrong from what, like, the way that how I was raised, and what I was taught. But I knew that I was different, and I remember sitting in my room, and I out loud I said, I think a guy is cute. And like just saying it was it was weird because that's when I came to the terms with the fact that I was like, I'm different. Like I didn't really know what gay meant, or oh god, my hair's a mess. I didn't really know what gay meant, but I just knew that I thought guys were cute, and I thought girls were cute too. But anyways, that was that. That's why when people are like, "Well, how old were you when you realized you were gay?" Or like when I was old enough to realize that I like boys. Like I was 8 or 9 years old, somewhere around there. Well, I got in my first serious relationship when I was 15. We dated like a year and 2 months. But we were dating for a couple months, and my parents absolutely loved him. He would come over all the time. My mom would always be like, "Oh, that's my little black stepson," but they didn't know we were together. Like they just thought we were friends or whatever. So he would come sleep over and come hang out and everything. Well, a couple months after I turned 16, like I started when I was 15. I started telling my friends because they were all like, "Oh, he's so fine. Hook me up with him." They didn't know he was my boyfriend. And I just wanted to be like, he's my boyfriend. I know he's fine. Like, I'm not gonna hook you up with him. He's with me. And so eventually I came out. Like, I was just like, yeah, me and so are dating. We're together. Well, a couple months after my 16th birthday, I decided to tell my mom. I was on AIM, AOL Instant Messenger, and I remember putting up an away message saying that I was going to tell my mom that I was bisexual. I was bisexual at the time. So I walked into my mom's room and I was like, "Mom, I need to tell you something." And like I remember it like so vividly. I walked in, I had my hands behind my head like this, and I was just like, "I need to tell you something." She was like, "What?" And I kind of think she knew what I was about to tell her, but she didn't want to like acknowledge that. And she was like, "What?" I said, "I'm bisexual." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh my god, she's gonna make me say it again." I was like, "I'm bisexual." And she said, "Well, that's not good because we're not gonna accept it." Well, I had a million things running through my head. I was scared. I was confused. I was hurting. I was like, I didn't know what to think, what to do, whatever. Well, she got up the bed and she came and sat in my room with me and we cried and we talked about it and she was like, that's against our religion and you can't. I was like, it's not something that I can control. I was just like, it is what it is. Like, I would never choose to pick this. I would never choose to want to be with guys, but, whatever. And she was like, "Well, I'll always love you. You're always going to be my son, and I'm always going to be here for you." Well, my parents, my dad, I never told my dad, like, he found out, like, he initially found out from other people, which is what I didn't want, but people talk, whatever. Well, so my parents knew. Um, my parents actually knew for a while before I even told my brothers. Like I think they always knew that I was gay, but they didn't want to like accept it. Like or like me actually coming out saying it removed all doubt. That I could be gay or straight. Like it was like a definite like okay, he's not straight. Me and one of my brothers, we didn't talk for a long time. He had a really hard time accepting it. Um, but now, I mean, we have a really good relationship, and I talk to him every day, pretty much, and he's always been there for me. All my brothers have always been there for me. They may not accept it or understand it, but they've always, if anybody ever messes with you, I got your back. I'm here for you. You know, they've supported me 110%, and I appreciate and love them for that. I would have to say the hardest thing about coming out was getting kicked out of church, and if the person who printed out my MySpace information is watching this, I want you to know that you cannot imagine the pain and heartache you caused in my life and in my family. What you did was completely wrong. It was none of your business for you to go on my MySpace and print out stuff of me saying that I was gay and like venting and trying to cope with at a time in my life where I was so confused as to who I was, and you printed that out and brought it to my pastor. What you did was very wrong, and you hurt me in ways that you'll never even know. Um, I just, I would love to know who did it. Is at the end of the day, I'll probably never know. But I don't know. I'll never. It's really hard to talk about. I still remember to this day, Brother Lau. I didn't mean to say his name, but everybody knows. Brother Lau called me in, and he was like, "If you're gonna choose to be homosexual, then I don't want you coming to this church having anything to do with anybody from this church." To this day, I'm still kind of bitter about it, and it's hard. Nobody will never, ever, ever understand what I felt when I was going through that. Because the one place that I felt I could turn to, like I could turn to God, I can go to church and pray about it, and like that was taken away from me like that. Like I was not allowed to go to that church. I'll never be able to go to that church and actually be a member of that church again, just because the simple fact I will constantly feel like I have to prove that I'm somebody that I'm not. Regardless if I'm dating guys or not, I'm still gonna be gay. And I'm not gonna go to a place where I have to pretend to be straight. I have to watch my mannerisms. I have to be careful not to dress too gay or act too gay. Like, before I got kicked out of church, I didn't go out, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. I was such a good kid. Like, I really was a good kid. And when I got kicked out of church, I was like, well, I can't go to church. Like, every service, I was crying my heart out to God, begging God to make me straight. And then that was taken away from me. And for so long, I was mad at God for it. And I had to realize that God didn't kick me out of church. A man kicked me out of church. And I've now that I'm older, I understand that he was doing what he felt was right at that time. He's never ever apologized to me for it, and I don't know if I'm looking for an apology, but it would be nice to have him apologize, because at that time the only thing that I was doing wrong was being gay, and that wasn't something I can control. I was 16 years old. I was so young, and I was trying to figure out who I was and figure out how to deal with something that I knew was so wrong, but something that I couldn't control. And the only person I could turn to at that time was God, and the church was taken away from me. They're supposed to be the one place you can go um, to get help, and that was taken away from me. Um, Other than that, going to school, before that happened, people at school started finding out, and I went to school with people that I also went to church with, so they started finding out, and that was pretty difficult. But I dealt with it. I just kept my head held high. Nobody at school really messed with me. Like, I can remember three times that are like memories that stay in my head. One time I was walking down the hall and some guy was like, "Hey, you bisexual?" And I looked at him and I was like, "I'm gay, get it right, I'm not bisexual." Two, in class one day, this guy, like this big, like, would have pummeled me to a pulp. But I was just like, "You might beat my ass, but I'm not gonna go down without a fight." But he was like, calling me queer and fag and like all this nonsense. And I was just like, if you do it again, I was like, I will throw some scissors at you. I don't know, I had scissors in my hand. And I was like, I'll throw them at you. And he was like, oh, whatever. So, I don't know. I threw scissors at him. Oh, what's going on? And then another time, this guy kept calling me a faggot. And I feel bad about it now because this guy was so young, like, so gay. And, like, it was, like, kind of a cry for help because, like, I was open about my sexuality, like, by, like, senior year. Like, it wasn't even an issue. But he was like, oh, you fag this, fag that. And I was like, look, if you call me a faggot one more time, I will get up and I will punch you in your face. And he was like, oh, you ain't gonna do nothing, you little faggot. So I got up and I walked across the classroom and I clocked him in his face, like knocked him in his jaw. And he didn't do anything. Like he just sat there like stunned. And like after I did it, I was like, oh my god, did I really just punch this kid? Like I was a senior and I think he was like a freshman or sophomore, and I was like, I cannot believe I just punched this kid in his face. But and then like as soon as the teacher walked in, he was like, Sergeant Starwood, Dustin punched me in my face. I was like, yeah, I punched him in his face because he kept calling me a faggot, and I was tired of hearing him call me a faggot. But I mean, other than that, I was blessed with amazing family and amazing friends who have. I didn't lose any of my friends coming out. I mean, they asked me like a lot of personal questions. They'd be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna say anything on here what they were asking," but I mean, it was it was pretty easy for me considering what some people go through. Um, the hardest thing was just being raised the way that being raised the way that I was raised, Pentecostal. My dad preached and my mom was a Sunday school teacher when I was little. That I mean, it was tough, and I knew that it was going to be tough when I made the decision to be openly gay. But I knew that it was something that I had to do so I could be happy, and I was just tired of the rumors and people whispering and talking and asking, and so finally I was just like, yes, I'm here and I'm queer. Get used to it. It's not going away. But that is my coming out story. If anybody who watches this who doesn't know me, if you have questions or anything, or you have problem, you're questioning your sexuality or whatever, it's okay. Find somebody that you can confide in and talk to, and I promise you, it's not gonna be as bad as you might think. Like I had friends who told me before I even came out, they were like, if I ever found out you were gay, I wouldn't be your friend, and like whenever they found out, they were like, I'm sorry, I guess I was just scared, and they were like, I still look at you the same, you're like a brother to me, I love you, and I, I never lost any friends over it. I mean, I have more straight guy friends than I do gay guy friends, and the people, if you do lose friends, then they weren't your friends to start off with. If they don't love you for who you really are, then they don't love you at all, so that's my coming out story. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. Happy New Year's to all of you. I hope 2012 will be a great year for y'all. I'm pretty sure it's going to be good for me. I love you, and bye. Bye-bye.